Hey everybody, it's Congressman Jamie Raskin on this Friday, February the 3rd. Friday, February 3rd, for the first time we're coming to you in February for my favorite time of the week, always, Local Hero, when we get to profile and interact with the people that are making life better every single day in Maryland's beautiful 8th Congressional District. So for this first week in February, our local heroes are Ron Halber, who's the Executive Director of the JCRC of Washington, the Greater Jewish Community Relations Council, and Guila Franklin Siegel, who's the Associate Director of the JCRC of Greater Washington. And because of their central role in promoting civil liberty and freedom and tolerance and mutual respect and the fight against anti-Semitism, we are saluting them this week. So let me start by congratulating you, Ron Halber, the Executive Director of the JCRC, and Guila Franklin Siegel, the Associate Director. You are
Thank
our
you,
local
Congressman.
Thank you.
We're thrilled you could join us. And both of you have been much on my mind because you are such an important and forceful presence in our community, but we've been experiencing this wave of really appalling, shocking hate incidents directed at Jewish people in our schools. The schools where our kids go, the schools that I continue to visit whenever I can, all around Montgomery County. And Guila, I know that this has been a special commitment of yours to promote peace and goodwill in the schools. Give us a sense of what's been happening, if you would, and then what JCRC has been doing to try to counter some of the manifestations of hate we've seen.
So thank you so much, Congressman, and again, very honored and grateful to be here. We have been working pretty much nonstop over the last 6 weeks with Montgomery County Public Schools. It hasn't been a great time. It's been a challenging time for Jewish students, for Jewish parents, for Jewish employees. The graffiti that was on the Bethesda Trolley Trail, which was seen by kids all over our county, and then the defacement of the sign saying Jews are not welcome here at Walt Whitman High School, and numerous vandalism, graffiti incidents with Nazi symbols. So that's the dark side and the unfortunate side. And I think that it has left parents and students feeling very anxious and upset and afraid. The positive side of it, though, has been the community coming together. And I think it's important to emphasize that. Right after the Whitman incident happened, the next night was the first night of Hanukkah. And there was a wonderful gathering right in front of Walt Whitman High School with students and community members and county officials, all speaking out, opposed to condemn hatred and to bring light, to shine light where there had been darkness. And what we saw in the week afterwards was a Whitman community that came together, and Jewish students who were proud and were confident and were approaching this horrible incident from a place of strength, a place of mutual respect, and a desire to bring everyone together. And that's something we very much believe in. We work very closely with Montgomery County Public Schools at all levels, curricular, student programming, and working with the communications team, outreach to Jewish parents so that we can ensure that parents feel safe sending their kids to school, even though these very unfortunate incidents have happened.
Well, thank you for everything that you're doing in the schools on a daily basis. And thank you especially for the assembly that you did with Robbie Dodd, the principal of Walt Whitman, right when that incident took place with the defacement of the sign on the way in. I remember this was just a day or two after I got my diagnosis, and I was terribly sorry not to be able to go out there to join everybody. But it was heartwarming knowing that you were there and that the community was going to stand strong for the values that make Montgomery County such an extraordinary place for people to live from every walk of life and every faith and ethnic and racial background. Well, it's bad enough that it's happening here, but what's taking place in Montgomery County has got to be part of a national or even international picture. And Ron, you've been so deeply involved in Jewish community affairs and also standing up for tolerance and civil discourse and peace. But give us a sense, if you would, of what is the global context within which this is taking place, and what is it that people should be doing to respond to this environment?
Well, thank you, Congressman. First of all, let me reiterate what Gila said. It's an honor to be chosen for our focus on this work. I would like to add that the JCRC not only vitally invests a great deal of energy and expertise in fighting anti-Semitism, but also we stand up against bigotry against anybody in our community. Anti-Semitism is a global phenomenon, and its roots and its manifestations occur in different ways in different countries. But in the United States, what the ADL survey showed, what it was actually a return to old-fashioned stereotypes that happen to be that are sort of going through the body politic, which are spreading like wildfire. And the question a lot of people say is, why now? And the answer is that never before has it been easier for a person who purveys hate to go ahead and spread their message as easy as it is now with social media. So if you go 10 years ago, the folks in our society who would have not gone ahead or would have not found an audience, now through all the different social media have the ability to do so and amplify their voice, where it used to be this type of hatred would just be given into the dark corners of society. I think a lot of this began when it started a few years, maybe 1 or 2 years before the beginning of the Trump administration. We began to see this rise of anti-Semitism. And I, for one, am somebody who believes that Trump's presidency accelerated this. I know some people may say it's partisan, but it happens to be true. During his presidency, there were groups in our society, when they would see things that he would say, would look at it as permission for them to go ahead and to say things that they never would have done. So it led to the normalization of hatred, not just against Jews, against Asian Americans, against the LGBTQI community, against Latinos, against immigrants, against Sikhs, against Muslims. And then it doesn't take long when something starts as kindling to catch fire and spread. So while traditionally it's mostly occurred during terms of economic instability, we had an environment where the leader of the free world was giving a wink to hatred. Second, you had COVID conditions, which disrupted society and created political instability. You did have some economic fears, not usually to the extent that usually occur when anti-Semitism, because they were an aiding abetting factor. And you had fourth, the rise of social media. And this created a terrible combustible engine where anti-Semitism is allowed to flourish and continues to this day.
Well, look, we don't want a situation where the ability of our kids of every background to learn and to flourish in school is hampered by these constant expressions of hate and violence that terrify them. So I'm wondering, before we go, if both of you could reflect for a moment on what everybody can do to try to turn this around and to make what is an anti-educational assault turn into something that is really a learning moment for the whole community. And Ron, I don't know if you have thoughts on that.
Well, Gil, why don't you talk about what we're doing in the schools positively and to turn that around, and then I can maybe give some more general observations.
So this is something where everybody has an opportunity to be a part of the solution, because we all have the opportunity and the responsibility to talk to our children about the meaning behind our words, the meaning behind our actions, and about the critical importance of respecting the dignity of each and every person. And children learn first and foremost from their home, from their family. and then from school. And I think that I've been very heartened by the number of parents who have come forward, who are engaged in this work, and by the number of coalition partners that we have, even as the JCRC advocates for educational equity for Black and Brown students, for the safety of transgender students. We have seen those communities stand up and speak out for the Jewish community. And so I think that's a critical part, the essence of what needs to happen. From the school standpoint, we have all kinds of programming that we can bring into the schools. And most importantly, we bring Holocaust survivors. Last year, we brought over Holocaust survivors to speak with over 5,000 students and educators throughout the greater Washington area. And we just had a survivor speaking last week at Tilden Middle School, which was one of the schools that had a swastika incident. And it was also so unbelievably heartening to see that a Zoom cast that MCPS sponsored with a Holocaust survivor had over 550 screens on it. Bring your children to events like that. Talk to them about why Holocaust jokes are not funny, about why stereotypes are wrong. And all of that will go towards creating a climate where there is not social acceptability to any of this kind of rhetoric, and where we don't reach a situation where children and families become inured to it, and it just becomes part of the woodwork, so to speak, and people stop being alarmed. The day we stop being alarmed about swastikas, about hateful rhetoric, is the day that I really fear for us. So if everybody is vigilant and everybody understands the import and parents take an active involvement, I think that will make a huge difference.
Yeah, thank you, Guila. And what more generally outside of the school context, Ron, can people do, and how can people approach it?
Well, I think Gil was right when she said that everybody has a role. Everybody has a social media platform. It could be used for good. It could be used for bad. And people need to express solidarity. When any group is aggrieved or harmed, no matter what it is, people should post and reject it. The more that good people stand up to bad forces, the more we can prevent the normalization of hatred towards any group. And we have within a school, there are mechanisms. There's programs we can bring in. There's an administration. There's a structure. But society itself, we have an obligation for community leaders to stand up, which means elected officials, clergy, business leaders, labor leaders, civic, and so on. And it's important that when these incidents occur, that they are roundly condemned, unequivocally, unapologetically, and loudly, because you want to demonstrate to the people who are engaging in this vandalism of God, or God forbid, violence, that this is not where society says they are the outcasts, not the people. They are the outcasts. They are the ones that are being rejected by society, not those of us who believe in creating a positive environment where all people, every individual and every group is cherished.
Well, look, I want to thank you both for your very wise words. You've given us a lot to think about, and I want to thank you for your passionate devotion to building the kind of society that will make all of us stronger and make all of us prouder. So for all that you do for us, Ron Halber and Guila Franklin Siegel, thank you. You are our local heroes, and I hope everybody sends you messages of encouragement and solidarity when they see this interview. All best to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.